Hi friends, I'm Sophia. Welcome back to Pixelpalette Dream Home. I am so glad you joined me today. There is something purely magical about pulling up to an old country farmhouse, isn't there? It takes us back to simpler times when life moved a little slower and everything felt more connected to the earth. Today, we are exploring how to recreate that beloved, nostalgic cottage farmhouse aesthetic using a gorgeous, nature-inspired organic palette. We are moving away from stark, modern whites and diving headfirst into soft, comforting earth tones that breathe life and history into your space. Before we start walking through these beautiful rooms, I have a quick question for you. What is your absolute favorite memory from a childhood home or a grandparent's farmhouse? Was it the smell of the kitchen or the colors on the walls? Drop a comment below and let me know. I adore reading your stories. Let's begin in the kitchen, the true heartbeat of any classic country home. To give this space an authentic, time-honored feel without spending a fortune on a massive kitchen remodeling cost, we can focus on paint and natural textures. Imagine your lower cabinets painted in a soft, grounding green like savory sage. It is a hue that brings the peacefulness of a herb garden right indoors. For the upper cabinets or a standalone hutch, we can use a slightly lighter, creamy green, like avocado smoothie. This layering of greens creates depth and looks as though the kitchen has evolved beautifully over the decades. To balance these organic greens, let's wrap the walls in honey oat milk. This color is like a gentle morning sunbeam, offering a soft, inviting backdrop that makes every copper pot and vintage plate pop. For the trim and ceiling, coconut cream provides a clean but gentle contrast, avoiding that harsh, blinding modern white. It feels like fresh butter or a hand-stitched heirloom quilt. When you use these tones, you do not need expensive interior design services to achieve a high-end, lived-in look. You just need a bit of imagination and a paintbrush. Moving into the living room, let's evoke those breezy summer afternoons on the front porch. Farmhouses have always embraced the elements, and we can do that by bringing the sky indoors. Let's paint an accent wall, or perhaps some built-in bookshelves in Celestial Horizon. This is a muted historical blue that reminds me of the sky just before dusk. To complement it, Supremely Cool offers a slightly lighter, tranquil blue-gray that works beautifully on shutters or wooden beadboard wainscoting. To ground these airy blues and keep the room feeling rooted in tradition, we look to the earth. For the main walls, a shade called Gargoyle provides a sturdy, stone-like gray with rich undertones. For your trim or vintage mantle, Fennec Fox steps in with a soft, clay-infused neutral that bridges the gap between the cool blues and the solid stone grays. These choices are fantastic if you are applying for home improvement loans to update an older property, as they offer a timeless appeal that never goes out of style and preserves the home's historic integrity. We are halfway through our tour, and I would love to know, Which cottage palette do you love to decorate with? Are you a fan of leafy greens, sky blues, or do you prefer something else entirely? Also, what are your personal color mixing tips for keeping a home feeling vintage yet fresh? Take a moment to share your wisdom in the comments below. Now let's climb the creaky wooden stairs and step into a master bedroom filled with gentle, romantic nostalgia. Farmhouses were always places of hard work, making the bedroom a vital sanctuary for rest. Instead of traditional pinks, we are using colors inspired by late summer sunsets and dusty rose garden paths. Picture the walls enveloped in blush beet. It is a sophisticated, earthbound rose that feels incredibly comforting and mature. To add a bit of sweetness without being overwhelming, peach protein works wonderfully on a painted dresser or on the ceiling, giving the room a soft, glowing ambiance when you turn on the bedside lamps at night. For the base of the room, let's look at hint of pink for the linens and curtains. It is a whisper of a color, almost white, but with a loving, rosy heart. To keep the room from feeling too delicate, we can ground it with oat latte on the trim or a plush area rug. This soft, sandy beige reminds us of sun-dried wheat fields and brings a beautiful balance to the space. If you are ever working with custom home builders on a new build but want that instant century-old charm, this specific palette is your secret weapon. Finally, let's look at the dining area or a sunlit breakfast nook where family stories are shared over a hot pot of tea. Here, we want colors that stimulate conversation and feel genuinely hospitable. Cafe latte is the perfect choice for the walls here. It is a rich, creamy brown that feels like a big hug from an old friend. It mimics the color of stained oak without the high cost of wood paneling. This shade makes white ceramic dishware and vintage lace tablecloths look absolutely spectacular. By combining cafe latte on the walls with the coconut cream we used in the kitchen for the trim, you create a seamless flow between rooms. Add a few sprigs of dried lavender and some antique landscape paintings in gold frames, and you have a space that looks like a page from a storybook. Creating a home filled with character doesn't require a brand new house. It just requires a connection to the colors that make your heart feel at peace. I hope these nostalgic palettes have inspired you to bring a touch of the countryside into your own special haven. If you enjoyed our little stroll through these dream rooms today, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell. It helps our community grow so much, and I have many more inspiring home tours planned for you. Until next time, remember that the most beautiful home is one filled with love and memories. Bye for now, friends.